the Igbos have been unfairly treated in Nigeria, yes. And when you say people accuse you of trying to, appease the Igbos, no, that's not it. It's the truth. People don't understand that Nigerian leaders like it when there's less territory to govern. You look at the Southeast. What was the business of Nigerian army, burning down villages? It's because there's less territory to manage now. Problems that would have been solved 10 years ago, you let it fester so that you have less territory to govern. The terrorist is a bandit. The bandit is a terrorist. They use the same tool. They use the same language. A kidnapper that has done so well for himself is also a terrorist. The moment it's the police that is fighting, army will support the terrorists. If it's the army that is fighting, police will support the terrorists. There's like rivalry within them because it's not about doing their job, it's about how much money you can make. Army generals are the biggest owners of properties in this Abuja. Do you think they sell cocoa? No. What is the major reason why there's terrorism in Zamfara that's sustaining it? Because there's gold. The people you call herdsmen, most of them are millionaires. If they are making money, why would they not kill somebody who prevents their cow from eating pasture?
If you were president, how would you get a list of credible people to run your government?
A lot of credible Nigerians, both at home and abroad. We know them, we meet them every day. We hear from them. It's just that the system in place don't allow good people to bubble to the surface. This is a country where, in Nigeria, this is a country that produced a doctor who was the first to carry out an operation in a baby in the tomb and in the womb,
Yeah.
Prepare the child and put him back. This is a country that has tunnel engineers that are drilling underground for underground trains. It's a country that produced a guy who was one of the people that invented plasma TV. Alright, so professors are here, but what do we use our professors for? To go and announce rig elections. The universities in this country don't do research, they are selling pure water. My university, the University of Lagos, the best thing they have produced maybe in the last 10 years is Unilag bread. I don't think you need to go to universities to do that because universities are not primed to do. We keep putting incompetent people in all these places. We can't get any better results that we're getting. But that is why I say whomever is president of Nigeria, his first job is to be the human resources officer of the country, the HR, and to find the best hands to work with. In fact, the moment you find the best hands to work with as the president, your job is less stress for you. Because you just then move from being HR to a line manager who is asking, how's it been done, And, I've said it publicly, if I'm president of Nigeria, I'll need a laptop and good internet, and we are good to go. Because we can run the country online, including decentralizing the central bank, decentralizing the electricity, and have people make electricity. Yes, you can make people sell electricity to themselves. The way we sell the recharge cards. Most people don't know this. And that would be big business. All you just need to put a law in place to say, look, if you have excess electricity, when we're coming here, there's solar on your roof. You can put good solar on your roof and sell to your neighbors. But the government will be the arbiter so that you get paid, so that your neighbor will not start fighting you like landlords are fighting tenants. So all that power goes into a grid, and it's a regional grid, and they redistribute. You get excess of what you're doing, and there's a machine that measures if you actually produce excess or not. So that's retailing electricity. But if you, I'm just using electricity as there's no language barrier for electricity. There's no language barrier for
real governance now.
No, there's no language barrier for governance. We speak English now. They create ethnic tone are things that people use to divide the country so that they won't be
radicalized.
It's not. Let me tell you. Do you know why it's not difficult? Break down to you. if you step out of this country today and go to a country that's working, will you sit down there when you want to pay your salary and say, I'm Yoruba, please pay me in cowrie shells? Of course not. You get to buy a car, nobody asks you, you have the money. You start driving on the road, nobody says, oh, this is Yoruba highway, this out. But in Nigeria, your leaders can do it. You're going to pass the place and say, this is how they do it on purpose to create the division, because the division helps them to not do work. When you look at terrorism and what is it called, banditry and all these excuses they have, people don't understand that Nigerian leaders like it when there's less territory to govern. So let's say this is Ondo State, and let's say the governor of Ondo State looks at it and says, if there's no banditry, I will be responsible for building roads and schools. So let the bandits take one half. I'll be staying in Akure.
This allegation is
I'm telling you. So, and you see that where there's no problem, Nigeria government will go and create problem, so that there will be no terror. You look at the southeast. What was the business of Nigerian army, burning down villages? It's because there's less territory to manage now. So all those places where there's no police station, no schools, and you have excuse for it, say, I would have built schools, but the bandits are there. But are you not the one who went and created a problem in the southeast? Start burning villages, and then everybody get upset at you, and they chase all government workers away. And you now say, oh, it's because of them. But you are the one in the first place. Look at where we are now with the way they are responding to Nnamdi Kanu and all that. Problems that would have been solved 10 years ago, you let it fester so that you have less territory to govern.
Okay, I'm coming to the issue of Nnamdi Kanu. Now let's look at the recent presidential pardon granted to offenders or convicted persons, over 170 of them. What would be your reaction? I had seen you
post is already known, and I'm aware why we're having this interview that they are reviewing the list that they said already had been approved. So once again, we were right, they're wrong.
Okay. Now looking at the issues of security, yes, where we have the Boko Haram that has lingered for over a decade and counting, and then now we have a new terrorist group. I think it's Wulu.
There's Lakwa, there's Wulu, there's I can't count how many terrorist groups crop up, but you see, not to make it difficult to understand, there's only one terrorist group. In fact, the fact that somebody says a bandit is different from it, they're just using language to confound you. A terrorist is a bandit. A bandit is a terrorist. They use the same tool. They use the same language. A kidnapper that has done so well for himself is also a terrorist, because they use the tool of terror to get to achieve their goals. So, but when you exist in a government, in a country that's practically zero government, you start hearing different names of terrorists. What is it seems like it's even the federal government that registers them, because it's through the federal government that you hear that there's the one they are calling Lakwa is in Sokoto in Zamfara. I don't know what they call the one in Kwara. There's a group in Kogi. Now they say another one, imagine Nasarawa today or yesterday. That's the Wulu one. Where did they come from? It's the same Boko Haram. See, all these ones are hearing, and they've had their camps built here. The biggest terrorist camps in Nigeria today is near Suleja, and there's another one in Obajana. What do you call them? Maybe they have not registered with the CAC yet. That's why we have not heard their name. But I've been saying this publicly for a long time. There was a terrorist camp that was in front of the law school for a long time. They had to go and dislodge them, not because they want to dislodge them, but because they're afraid their children who are going to law school at Buhari might get kidnapped. We all know all these things. Because if they kidnap like the entire law school, everybody will sit up, and those guys can do it. But why? It's because government doesn't do its work. The government doesn't want to solve any security problem. And I have said it so many times. Security or insecurity is not carrying guns and beating people up. You have to start from economic, or you have to solve the inequality problem in a society. Because a terrorist needs to be able to recruit people. If people are employed, they are not likely to be available for recruitment for terrorism. And if workers in the police force are motivated, they're likely to go after terrorists. I used to say something, I lived in the US for 20 years. The likelihood that you can drive somebody in your boot 100 miles without the police detecting is almost zero. Don't you notice that each time somebody carries out a killing in the US, within 24 hours they'll find a person. They will track you. But here, there are crimes of murder that took place. The Attorney General of the Federation was killed. We haven't found his murderers yet. So that is the issue. That is the issue. You don't have people here who are doing their work. Remember, there was a journalist that was forced to jump down from her. They claim they have arrested the people who carried out those crimes, but still, how are you sure of what happened? The only time, the reason they said they have arrested it was because there was a lot of outcries, a journalist, they had to even remove the commissioner of police in the FCT. I criticized him openly. This one is not a policeman. Because of the way he sat down on that interview, he didn't even look like someone who knows what he's doing as a police person. But if you compare to when Charlie Kirk was killed in the US, the amount of effort that went into it, all the officials, they were doing press conference back to back. You see bank of cameras, you see police officers, FBI, all of them are working together. But in this country, I know a lot of people who go out to fight terrorists. The moment it's the police that is fighting, army will support the terrorists. If it's the army that is fighting, police will support the terrorists. There's like rivalry within them because it's not about doing their job, it's about how much money you can make from sustaining terrorism and banditry or whatever name they call them. They don't want it to end. Army generals are the biggest owners of properties in this Abuja. Do you think they sell cocoa? No. What is the major reason why there's terrorism in Zamfara that's sustaining it? Because there's gold there. A lot of people are interested in taking that gold out because it's money. Why is there headsmen out there fighting every day? This is why I say leadership is key. Because the meat industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Yes. The people you call headsmen, most of them are millionaires. So, if they are making money, why would they not kill somebody who prevents their cow from eating pasture? Because there's money to be made. And if you investigate further, you discover that the people you call headsmen are middlemen for rich people. Some of those cows are owned by rich people. The headsmen are just the ones who take them out. And because I've been approached before in this Abuja that I should come and buy cow and give to headsmen, and that is the easiest way to make profit. So if I go and buy cow now and give, should I want to hear from my headsman that my cow was killed by somebody? Because I'm waiting to sell the cow. If you buy a cow for 200,000 naira in Nigeria, in this Abuja, and you hand it over, you don't need to see the cow, hand it over to the headsman. Within a year or two, that cow, if it is well fed, is worth 1.something million naira. Why won't anybody kill for that? Have you thought about that? So some of these issues are very economic as well. But the way to deal with it is to handle them from the social security perspective. Get rid of unemployment, give people proper education, healthcare, and you will see less crime on the street. That is why when people ask me what's my first priority if I'm president of Nigeria, I say electricity, because that is what can kickstart the industrial revolution all of us are talking about. Everybody who can have access to electricity, not this prohibitive electrical grid we have that you have to pay through your nose to use. And that's in a way that is also creating its own class dichotomy, because a lot of people now have access to electricity but they can't afford it, and that is not productive. So I'm talking about electricity that's affordable for everyone. You will see that the economy will be jump started immediately. You will see a rise in your GDP, whatever are all those G's, that is used to calculate economic growth. You see Nigeria, boom, start heading there. That's how China did it. That's how India did it. So that somebody will not come and tell you that the problem is population. Population is now advantage for states, because the more population you even have these days, the more people you can put to work, and the more they share their prosperity, and the more your economic growth is follows. Because you notice now that even jobs have become global. You can sit here and be working in the US and be earning dollars. You can be working in China just with your laptop. Not Yahoo, I'm talking about real daytime or nighttime jobs. So, because all of this has been somehow democratized by technology, we haven't tapped into even the technological space at all, likely because of electricity, and also likely because of policies and regulations. Because again, it comes back to leadership that have global, understanding of how the world works.
Okay, so if you were to look at the justice system,
yes,
where we have judges and where cases linger for years, even decades, the Dasuki issue and like. Now, would you say that the judiciary needs to actually be sanctioned, or
the judiciary needs to be cleansed completely? So part of the biggest problem of the judiciary is that it is under complete control of people it's supposed to be checking. Let me give you an example. The last time there was a public announcement about appointment of judges, Abuja, I think, appointed 62 judges, FCT. About 59 of them were children of either retired or serving judges. How do you get justice in that space? Then every other thing you talk about, which is the delays you see in the justice system, is deliberate. I'll give you an example. I have started using the online justice space in the US for the last 15 years. There's something they call PESA for federal government cases. You don't even need to see a judge. You want to do a CTC, you don't go to court. You want to file something, you just log into your PESA on your computer. That's how, even for so many of the judgments, the judges just drop the judgment there. So don't go to court. But go and file a case at the federal court. You wait from morning till night. You go and look for a photographer. You go and do this, you go and do that. Before you know it, that just denies you justice. Because you have a population that is in need of justice, and your justice system has not applied itself to be able to take care of the population, leveraging on technology, which is what is done world over. We still go. I went to court yesterday, and some civil servants were being tried for corruption. They had 40. We left at the point they were reading at 43rd count. We sat there for at least an hour, and the judge asked the registrar, read count 1, read count 2. When we read 43, we left. I don't know how many counts are left. That is not a justice system. That's an archaic justice system. Those ones are supposed, the reading of count could have been done by a voice-trained system in the court. It has already been imputed. You just look at it, you'll be looking at the calendar, the screen, it says count 1. And within 5 minutes, it's read all the counts because you have imputed it. Then you now have this woman who is laboring to read all the counts and say, do you accept this as number 1, number 2, number 3? My lord, is that a country anymore? In these days of technology, just put a screen like sitting there, and you don't even need to read it to them. Let it be count 1. You can say, as if you can read. If you say you can't read, even if you say that the accused person cannot hear English, you just press the Hausa speaking voice activated software. You will speak Hausa. ChatGPT will do that for you. You will read it to you. You hear your counts. We sat there, I think 2 hours. The judge, by the time they are done with that, and they have like maybe 16 cases for the day, you use 2 hours to read counts to 5 people. The judge is a human being now, he'll be tired. And then he has to handwrite the bail application. The lawyers are there. My lord, my lord, my lord, my lord, my lord. Nobody needs to tell me that that's not a justice system, because we are living in the past with regards to justice. That's outside of the corruption. The bureaucracy is in itself an injustice.
Now let's look at the issue of Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes.
You joined the call for his release.
I've always been involved for the justice for Nnamdi Kanu and Igbos in Nigeria. It didn't start now. I've been going to court since when he was returned from Kenya in 2021. In fact, I was going to court so much that I was getting arrested, getting beaten up. I was attacked severally in court. The evidence is all over. Yes, so I didn't know it's just because I've been part of the arrowhead of the call for the discontinuation of any trial, in national reconciliation and national healing, and the respect for the tribe that went through the civil war.
Okay. Now, in a few days, I think in 2 days, the protests would actually
take place, yes.
Take place. Between now and Monday, are you not afraid at all, anticipating that the government could arrest you?
No, they're afraid to arrest me. Before we came on this show, they went to court to seek an ex parte injunction against me so that I won't do the protest. But I heard the judge did not grant it, so I would imagine that they have other plans, but don't worry about that. Whether I'm arrested or not, we put things in place to ensure that the protest is not stopped.
Have you considered that there could be another NSAS issue with this, considering how that turned out?
Well, I don't have a crystal ball, but our plan is completely peaceful protest, and that's what we're going to stick with.
Now, if the federal government comes out to negotiate, I think they still have.
If they're releasing, we'll just go to club this weekend, and they still have. It's just 1:52 p.m. They can still release him by 4 p.m. They can call me now and say, "Come and get him." I have an apartment where he can stay until he finds his own place.
The Igbos have constantly said that they have been treated unfairly in Nigeria.
They have not constantly said the Igbos have been unfairly treated in Nigeria, yes.
Can you explain that?
Well, since the Civil War broke out in 1967 and ended in 1970, the Igbos have been... First, the Civil War killed a disproportionate number of Igbos, not only through the war itself, but the policies of starvation and emasculation that took place during and after the war. And subsequently after that, there's been a lot of marginalization by subsequent governments and what I call ethnic profiling and suppression of Igbos. And when you say people accuse you of trying to, appease the Igbos, no, that's not it. It's the truth. And somebody like me feel like I didn't participate in a war, so I have no business continuing the Cold War.
And some are also saying with this call to release Nnamdi Kanu that you're trying to score cheap political points.
His detention in the first place is political. So what is it that the people who detain him are trying to score? Expensive political points? That's. I'm used to this kind of like childish talk.
Okay, now in the near future, how do you see Nigeria?
If Nigeria continues on this trajectory, nobody needs to say that Nigeria will die a natural death.
How?
Because this is not a sustainable way of running a nation state. Nigeria would collapse under the weight of issues thrown at it by its internal enemies and external enemies if we continue in this way. But Nigeria has got a bright chance if we change course.
Now let me just talk about the economy. Let me ask you what you think. Okonjo-Iweala said the economy is looking good. The IMF is saying even the devaluation of Naira is not as bad as people see it as. And the government itself is saying we are doing well, the economy is moving, everything is good. When you just oppose this in your own country.
All these people you mentioned, I've always been opposed to them. I'm opposed to. Yeah, I can't stand her. She's a very dishonest person who has been around twice to destroy the economy of Nigeria as minister of the IMF. Is what I call the international monetary fraud. I've always imposed policies that is not meant for us to destroy our country. They're the one who destroy our industries. They're the one who destroy our educational sector by saying that, oh, don't fund education, let people pay for school. But guess what? The doctors that were funded for true free education, they have all ended up in the West, helping them to take care of their population. So there must be something we're doing right in those days that we're providing free education. Those people here can't afford, and they can't afford it. But education is they know that education brings prosperity. If you want to, pauperize any population, take education away from them. Come back and look at them in 10 years.
And he also strikes right now.
I just think some of these things are part of how they keep us distracted, So if ASU goes on strike for another 6 months, you know what that means for people who are going to school, right? It's de-education of Negroes. Yes.
So tell us about the N-word. I think Nigerians are learning that statement from you, and a lot of people, when you go through his comment section, you see
what's the N-word?
And Nepal.
Well, I think Nigerians are always very excited about things happening in other places, and Nigerians have a copycat culture, but I just hope this time around they're serious. I think internet and the advent of internet has made more Nigerians see things further and bigger than they usually would. I was surprised one day when I went to TikTok, and so many people asking me questions where people in Oyinbo and all those areas in Yoruba, speaking Yoruba, and one of them I can't forget said, I'm just selling a call here, Agidi, but I'm your supporter. Probably she was frying Akara in the background, but what that has told you is that the world is better connected than it used to be, not through mainstream media but social media. And now you won't be surprised if something happens in this country and it was planned on TikTok while the rest of us are still on Twitter and trying to speak decent English, because the barrier for interaction is less on those platforms. You just put on content, you have emojis, you have just ways of communication that are faster, easier, and very basic. To be on Twitter, you have to have certain level of so-called intellect, even though a lot of Twitter intellectuals are people who otherwise are just functional literates.
I would like you to say something to President Bola Tinubu.
I have nothing to say to him, and I think he's got nothing to offer, and maybe it's time to pack and leave. Yes.
And to
Nigerians, I just say, take your country back. Yes.
Thank you so much. so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that was the AAC presidential candidates in the 2023 presidential election, who has shared his thoughts on issues around politics, the economy, education, and security on the Platinum Exclusive. We hope to bring you more daring voices in our subsequent episode. I remain yours truly, Oluwatobi Enitan.